Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Good afternoon. Here is the national news from BGI TV, Baba Bagede Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines. El Rufai, Yahya Bello storms Supreme Court. FG CBN will act after Supreme Court's ruling. Northern elders blame Buhari for crisis trailing Naira redesign. FG abandoned Nigerians trained to build satellites. Obasanjo. Gridlock as protests resume in Ibadan over fuel scarcity. Bawa not disobeying court orders. EFCC reacts to protests. Gunmen kidnapped 15 NYSC members in Anambra. And on sports, Flying Eagles face Moroccan club in friendly match. Now the news in detail. Kaduna State Governor Ahmed El Rufai and his Kogi State counterpart Yahya Bello have stormed the Supreme Court to monitor proceedings in a suit by their state against the federal government on cashless policy regime. The two governors arrived at the courtroom around 8:30 a.m. in company of their followers and top government functionaries. The federal government is expected to lock on in legal battle with the three states challenging the implementation of the cashless policy regime introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria. At the time of this report, more than 100 senior advocates engaged by the federal government and the aggrieved three states have also arrived at court to present their case of respective clients. Information noted on the course list of the court that Ondo states has teamed up with three states in the legal battle. A seven-member panel led by Justice John Okoro on February 8 altered the move of the federal government in a ruling in an ex parte application brought by three northern states governors of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara. Moving on to the next story, the presidency has said that neither the federal government nor the Central Bank of Nigeria are taking a stand on the continued use of 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira old note as legal tenders, saying that the case is still pending before the Supreme Court, which we'll hear today. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, said the FG would make its position on the new naira note policy known after the determination of the suit on Wednesday today. In response to a correspondent on Tuesday, he said, following a series of inquiries, we wish to state that it is not true that the FG or the CBN has taken a preemptive action on the legality of currency as a legal tender in view of the presidency and pendingness of the case before the Supreme Court. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has blamed government's policy somersault in the last 15 years for Nigeria's inability to produce its own satellite. Obasanjo stated that without committed effort and a custom blueprint, advancement in the country's technological drive would continue to be a mirage. The former head of state spoke at his residence in Abeokuta, Ogun State, capital, at a meeting with the management of Algorithm Limited. Obasanjo recalled how his administration between 1999 and 2007 worked towards gathering scores of local engineers to build a satellite. The retired general disclosed that then the government got the Chinese to train 120 Nigerians on how to build satellites after an agreement. The plan was China will build the first satellite, build the second, while tutoring Nigerians who will later build the third, Obasanjo said. But the 120 Nigerians were nowhere to be found again. They were not there, he told his guests. The government that came after us could not understand, and that is part of the misfortune of Nigeria. I met the Nigerians when I later went to China, he said. As regards fuel scarcity and naira scarcity, some yet to be identified persons have blocked the ever-busy Ele junction in the Ibadan Northwest local government area of the Oyo State protests the scarcity of fuel and new Naira North. Information reported that a similar protest rocked the city on Friday, February 3rd, where some hoodlums within the popular Araro Spear Path Gates took advantage of the protest and set ablaze a police station, stole the station's plasma TV, vandalized a branch of Wema Bank in the area, and looted some roadside shops. Today's protest has caused some serious gridlock in the Eleyele area, while people coming from the Erua Olusegun area are being prevented from heading their destination. Correspondents on ground check revealed that motorists have begun turning back while school children hurriedly return home for fear of being attacked.
These traders are aggrieved as scarcity of the Naira notes continues. They say they are petty and small-scale traders and need daily cash for their businesses. Some also say they do not have bank accounts for electronic transactions. Those who have bank accounts complain of failed transactions. According to them, as many rush to the banks to deposit monies in banks to meet the earlier deadline of January 31st given by the Central Bank of Nigeria, many were unable to retrieve their money and therefore couldn't buy what they need.
I come market yesterday, no sell market. I come today, no sell market. I go manage it. I go track the money where I get for bank. As them talk, go put them there.
As I no get account, no way we go transfer. Now make see my market take photo.
Anybody will come, he go say, he don't go bank, stand, then they give money. They don't go POS. POS they charge for 10,000 and they go charge 2,000 naira. 10,000 they go charge one something. So they come they affect us. This money will come. No market. Everywhere they dry. The thing they affect us well. We go there to go collect the money we don't put. They don't give us money again.
Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) on Tuesday denied an allegation that its chairman Abdurrashid Bawa was found of disobeying orders of the court. There have been a series of protests, especially in Lagos and Abuja, by civil society organizations, CSOs, demanding the removal of the chairman of the EFCC. On Monday, members of another CSO numbering over 100 took over the streets of the Lagos to demand the sack of Bawa over human rights infringement and disobedience of court orders. But speaking at a briefing on Tuesday in Abuja, EFCC spokesperson Wilson Wajere said the groups carrying out the protests have no interest in the fight against corruption. He said the commission believed it was denied a fair hearing and that as a law-abiding institution, the EFCC had approached this appellate court for a stay of execution. Wajere, however, did not say whether the stay of execution had been granted to forestall the order for the arrest of Bawa by the Inspector General of Police. He alleged that the protest by over 100 anti-corruption civil society organizations, which entered the third day on Monday, was sponsored against the EFCC chairman to discredit his person. According to him, the protesters' allusion to disobedience of court orders by the EFCC chairman is an alibi to manipulate facts around judicial pronouncement and process to pitch the public against the commission. To the next story. Gunmen on Tuesday kidnapped 15 members of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) in Anambra State. The Corps members were abducted by hoodlums at a filling station in Hiala, local government area of the state. It was gathered that the Corps members had just completed their 3-week orientation camp in Imo State and were traveling to Lagos when they were abducted. The government hijacked their vehicle and diverted it to Iseke Hiala or Lu Expressway, where they kept them Corps members hostage, a source said. Reacting to the incident, the Anambra State Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, however, said the Corps members have been released through the effort of police operatives. Lastly, on the national news. Coming on for the national news is the next story, which ends the national news as sports story. Nigeria's Flying Eagles will tackle Moroccan club Cap Athletic Marrakesh on the 23 side in friendly on Wednesday today Larimboso side were scheduled to face Central African Republic on Tuesday, but the game was cancelled at the last minute. The friendly against Crab Athletics will hold at the Complex Sportif Sidi Mohammed in Sebab, Casablanca. It will kick off at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. It will be the team's last preparatory game before they kick-start their campaign at the Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations in the country. The 7-time champions will take on Senegal in their opening fixture at the Cairo International Stadium on Sunday. That ends the national news this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. El Rufai, Yahya Bello storms Supreme Court. We also brought to you concerning the new redesign of FGCBN will act after Supreme Court ruling, presidency declares. Northern elders blame Buhari for crisis trailing Naira redesign. Finally, Flying Eagles face Moroccan club in friendly today. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Baba Bagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For other placements of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rabila Lawa. Good afternoon.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.